All right, guys. Hello. How's everybody doing? This is Richard Duffy, also known as Reverend Rich, guys, and I'm excited again to come back to you and to have another Google Hangout. And I'm here to share with you a metaphysical approach to wealth and prosperity. And the key idea that we're going to touch on this evening, morning, or night, or wherever you're watching this video is attitude. Guys, listen, I truly believe, in my personal opinion, that this particular hangout probably be the most important of all hangouts. Okay, because without the proper attitude in reference to life, and here we're talking about having abundance and prosperity and good things, but without a proper attitude, guys, this will be very difficult for you to achieve or to accept your divine heritage. It'd be very difficult for you to manifest what is rightfully yours. So my goal is here is to share with you some thoughts and some ideas that you can take away with and learn and grow with. And then at the end of the day, the goal is to manifest some things in your life. Let's see some changes, some transformation taking place, so that that which is rightfully yours, and you're going to keep hearing me saying that over and over again, because in the previous hangouts we talked about how wealth, abundance, and prosperity is your divine heritage. Okay, it belongs to you. It is yours by right of inheritance. Okay, you are a child of God. Okay, you are the offspring of God. You are the offspring of unlimited good. The God in you is unlimited potential. Okay, potentiality is in you. That means you have the potential to be a Bill Gates, or to be an Oprah Winfrey, or to be anybody that you admire or you look at and says, wow, I'm amazed at their accomplishment. Hello, hey, you can accomplish great things too. So it's great to admire people. It's great to look at people and appreciate their gift and appreciate their talent. Okay, but don't ever forget that greatness is inside you. You have the potential to be even greater than your mentor, than your coach, than your leader. Isn't that what the master teacher taught us? He says, greater things than these will you do. In other words, his disciples, it was Jesus' expectation of them to do greater things. Now, why can they do greater things? Because there's greatness in them. You can't do great things unless you recognize, unless you realize that greatness is on the inside of you. All right. So guys, listen, I'm fired up because I think this particular hangout is really going to help somebody. When you listen to this hangout and you listen to this video, this one is really going to transform someone's lives. Okay, so as I told you before, my goal is to continue to do hangouts. You know, like I said, guys, I may do one every single day for 365 days because it is my intention is to establish wealth and prosperity consciousness all over the world. That's my goal, because I do believe, just like one of my mentors, John Randolph Price, who said that without prosperity, there is no peace. And we need more people to stand up and begin to declare that a prosperous people builds prosperous cities, neighborhoods, countries, and a prosperous world. Okay, so we need to have people with this prosperous type attitude, this prosperous type thinking. We need to share these thoughts and ideas and philosophies, and we got to continue to encourage and teach so that people can grasp what is already belong to them. Okay, all right, so here we go. as many of you already know, that I am pulling thoughts and ideas from the book, The Dynamic Laws to Prosperity by Catherine Ponder, which is one of my favorite books. And I will share with you many other books that I have read and what they have done in my life, my family's life, based on us studying and following these principles and how they have actually transformed my life. So I am an advocate student of spiritual principles. I believe in them, and I study them, and I study them, and I study them. But not only that, it is my intention is to have normal miracles every day. Not miracles like it shocks me, but as just as natural as it is to plant apple seed and to have apples on the branches, then I have just as much expectation to have abundance and have those type of experiences in my life. And my goal is, as you begin to continue to develop this wealth consciousness, that you would have a greater expectation of good all the time. And when there's a great expectation of good, guys, listen, you will always manifest good. All right. Isn't that exciting? Okay. So let's look at this next series. And the last lesson, we talked about the cause. And I share with you the history and the reason why so many people fail to experience what is rightfully theirs by divine right. And what I'm talking about is abundance and prosperity and supply and happiness and peace and joy and money. Okay, yes, money is a part of prosperity. And the reason why many people are not experiencing all the money that they would like to have, and they're not experiencing more than enough, is because we were taught years ago that salvation, in order to experience salvation, it had to come through suffering and living a very pious and mediocre type life. So the way to salvation was basically suffer. And we probably know the scripture where it said, if you suffer with me, you will reign with me. I will go into details, in my opinion, what that really means, because I don't believe my creator, God of the universe, God of absolute good, intend for his children to suffer. Let me ask you this question. Let me say this, okay? I have two wonderful, wonderful children. And I cannot imagine them suffering all the time. Really. I have something in my eye. I cannot imagine just inflicting pain on them consistently. Nobody, no true father or mother or relatives can see someone inflicting pain on their loved ones consistently. So when we look at ideas and thoughts and philosophies and different scriptures that are written, a lot of times they're misinterpreted because we don't take the time to really go into depth and really get the true meaning of it. That's why I'm teaching from a metaphysical perspective. In other words, I pull the inner meaning out of the holy scriptures or the word, pull the inner meaning out of it so it can make it come alive. Okay, so we learned in our previous video that this is where this idea of poverty and how it flowed throughout the consciousness of people for years. Even today, people don't like the idea of speaking of God and wealth. In other words, they think when it comes to God, God is over here. And when it comes to wealth, it's over here. God and wealth are not equal. And how can that not be? And I'm going to share with you how that we've been in error for so long. In other words, God and money are one. God and abundance are one, because everything exists or will exist is pressed out of God first. It was first an idea from God first. All great and good and perfect gifts come from above first. Now, we cannot help how some people have taken the perfect idea and they've mixed it with their own thinking. Now, we can't help that, but let me say this to you. Everything that exists or will exist has been pressed out of God in different forms of manifestation. It says the nature of God is absolute good. There can be no even reality. What's going on in your reality? If you recognize that God's nature is absolute good, then we should be experiencing good all the time. The question comes, am I aware of it? Have I developed a consciousness? Okay? All right. So watch this. The right attitude. Now, in order to help you establish the all-important prosperous attitude that God is a source of man's supply as the creator of this rich universe. I love how she said that. First of all, we want to get this prosperous attitude, right? So first, you got to develop the prosperous attitude. Acknowledging that God is a source of your supply as a creator of this so-so universe. No. She said rich universe. Rich universe. No matter what anyone says about a city or a state or a country or wherever you are, we abide in a rich universe. Okay? And the ideas that we abide in a rich universe, there is nothing that you cannot create or bring forth if you understand that this universe is rich. Think about it. If you had an attitude that we have a poor universe, then there's no way your mind could come up with creative ideas because you have a poor attitude. And so then God can't give you ideas because you don't think you live in a rich universe. You know, not too long ago, I watched a video on Facebook where this little boy had some form of disease in his hands and feet, and they actually had the first transplant of hands. Guys, I've never seen anything like it in my life. You know what that is? That's rich intelligence. Omniscient, all-knowing. In other words, we live in such a rich universe that whatever we need, all we got to do is download it. You know why? Because see, I'm one with this rich universe. All I got to do is connect to it. Did you hear me? All I got to do is connect to it. And then those rich ideas flow in my mind. And then I go forth and do. But you always acknowledge that God is your source. Okay? The doctors did not do that of themselves. The wisdom of the doctors, it first came from God, this rich universe. And through that intelligence, they were able to give that little boy hand. Oh my goodness. And it showed how you could see blood started flowing through the hands. Wow, isn't that amazing? Now, this is what's so unique about that. That idea to do such a thing existed before it happened. That's the only way he could do it. See, listen, guys, listen. When you grasp this particular Google Hangout, this one here, you're going to recognize that whatever you and I need already exists. That's why the attitude has to be important. What that boy needed existed before he needed it. The intelligence to do that which need to be done already existed. God of the rich universe just needed a vessel and a vehicle to use the intelligence to do what would need to be done. But the idea already existed. Oh my goodness. Are you hearing this? So look at this, why this is so important. Why this is important that you acknowledge that God is the source of your supply of this rich universe. It says here that, and that God's will for you is therefore the wealth of the universe. So if you live, listen, if you live in a rich universe, why wouldn't God want you to enjoy the wealth of the universe? Why live in a rich universe and then God said, nope, you can't enjoy it. Nope, you can't have it. Nope, you can't do it. Nope, sorry. That wouldn't even make sense. The God of good, the God of love, the God of peace, right? In a rich universe tells his children, you cannot enjoy wealth. You know what? You know what? I'm so excited right now. I don't even have to do another thing on this video, because what I've just said is so powerful that I know that you are hearing this right now and you are like, whoa, did you hear that? Why live in a rich universe? And then your father say you cannot enjoy wealth. Listen to this. It goes on to say, I suggest that you paraphrase the words of Jehovah to Moses. I will remember Jehovah, God, for it is that giveth me power to experience wealth. Who gives you power to experience wealth? God does. Where does the intelligence come? It comes from God. Where does the wisdom come from? It comes from God. Where does the action, the zeal, the passion, the desire, all of it, it comes from God. Do you remember in probably the first video that I did, the very first one? Do you recognize and understand that it was God that put it in me to desire wealth? It was God saying, Richard, listen, you live in a rich universe. You live in a rich universe. Enjoy the wealth that is already yours by divine right. If you're listening to me right now, God put that inside of you. If there's any contradiction to what you're supposed to have, it's because of a bad attitude. Did you hear what I just said? You don't have the right attitude about wealth. And if you don't have the right attitude about wealth, there's no way you can experience it. Wow. Oh my goodness. I am feeling good tonight. Look at this. I'm going to say this again. God is the source of man's supply as the creator of this rich universe, and that God's will for you is therefore the wealth of the universe. So say, I will remember Jehovah, God, for he it is that giveth me power, the ability, it gives me the wisdom, it gives me the creative ideas, it gives me the vision, it gives me the hope, it gives me the expectation, right, to experience. Listen, it's no need for us to talk about wealth, talk about it about what somebody else is having. I can't experience the wealth that somebody else is having. I need to experience it for myself. What's the purpose of talking about what somebody else, how wealthy they are? What's the purpose of me talking about how wealthy LeBron James is or how wealthy Michael Jordan is? I'm supposed to experience the same amount of wealth. Enjoy the same ocean. Enjoy the same beaches. Enjoy the same restaurants. Enjoy the same food. Enjoy the same resorts. Enjoy the same condos. Enjoy the same cars. All of that's wealth. And then I can experience it just like anybody else, because everybody's a child of God and everyone has a right to experience it. All right. Boy, this is good. Now, perhaps you are thinking, yes, but this is the kind of thinking. Is this kind of thinking practical? Which means, can such an attitude actually put shoes on a baby, food on a table, and pay the rent? Can this actually attitude? Now here's the question. People want to know, can this pay my mortgage? Can this attitude get me out of debt? Can this attitude help me to do the things that I want to do? Can this attitude help me successful in business? And I'm going to tell you, yes, it can. And we're gonna go into deeper details tonight of how this attitude can do it. All right? Wow, look at this. Another of the shocking truths about prosperity is that thoughts of your mind have made you what you are, and thoughts of your mind will make you whatever you become from this day forward. Now, I know this is tough. I know, listen, when you hear something, most of the time, people's attitude is to be a victim or to blame. Seriously, most of the time when they're in deep trouble and problems, their conscious mind looks for someone to blame. And then if they continue to look for someone to blame, then at all times, whenever problems come, trouble come, by habit, they just point in, well, the reason why I'm in this problem because of him or because of her. And that what happened with Adam? We're not gonna go into detail with that. I'll tell you all about that later. But Adam said, hey, that woman you gave me. But we always blame. We blame the president. We blame, I wasn't raised this way. We blame. And guys, listen, in order to experience wealth the way that you want to experience it, one of the things that has to change is a victim blaming attitude. You have to take full responsibility for where you are right now. Wherever you are right now, you have to take full responsibility. You see, I was raised in the tradition that you could easily blame the devil for much of your problem. Matter of fact, 90% of your problem, it was what my fault. It was the devil. Right? And then that would leave me with an excuse of why I am not where I should be. Guys, I'm telling you, you will never experience the peace, the happiness, and joy, and the wealth, and the money that you belong to have, and is rightfully yours if you keep blaming the devil for your problems. I'm staring at it because I hope you heard me what I said. You are not going to experience the good that is rightfully yours if you're going to play the victim all the time. Watch this. Listen to this. The more you realize this, the more you will come to know that people, places, conditions, and events can't keep your God-given prosperity and success from you. Hear this. When you understand that the thoughts of your mind made you what you are, and the thoughts of your mind will make you whatever you will become, then you will realize that the more you will come to know people, places, conditions, events events cannot keep your God-given prosperity and success from you. When you realize this, no situation, no condition, I don't care how bad it is, can keep God's prosperity and you experiencing wealth if you have the right attitude. Let me give you the definition of attitude. Attitude is a state of mind. This is out of the Revealed Word by Charles Fillmore. It's a state of mind in relation to some matter or situation. So say if you're in a situation where there's not enough money to meet your obligations for the month. The key to experiencing wealth and having new ideas coming into your experience is the right attitude. What is going to be your attitude about it? Everybody has had situations. Nobody, if you live on planet Earth, everybody has had some difficulty in their life. Everybody has had some challenges, some far worse than others, but nevertheless, everyone has dealt with some form of challenge and difficulty. Right? Now, I love this scripture. Think about this. Jesus said, in this world, you're going to have tribulation. Right? In this world, you're going to have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I had a great attitude. In other words, I overcome them all. Well, the only way that he overcome them had to have a good attitude. Had to have a prosperous attitude. In this world, you're going to have tribulations. In other words, in this world, guys, you're going to have difficulties. In this world, if you are, I don't know, an author, a speaker, somebody's not going to like your voice. Okay. Somebody's not going to like your book. Somebody's going to be a serious critic. In this world, there will be tribulations. We're not going to always like everything that the government decides. We're not going to like everything that people do on our job, or what our boss may say, or what this one may say, or what that one may say. In this world, you're going to have tribulations, but be happy. Have a positive attitude. Have a prosperous attitude, and you'll overcome any situation. Ain't that awesome? Isn't that powerful? In other words, you have the power within yourself to look at every situation, have a prosperous mindset about it, and it won't bother you. It won't be able to take you down. It won't put you in depression. It won't make you negative. It won't make you angry. It won't make you bitter. In other words, a prosperous attitude and a right attitude will help you overcome any difficulty. And guess what? When you win that one, you won't see it again. In other words, you don't got to keep going round the bush and tell you, hey, listen, you got to learn this lesson. You haven't learned it yet. So sometimes we keep going around the circle. Learn the lesson so you can move on. So listen, so this rich universe can start pouring its good into your life. Are you hearing me? Isn't this powerful? All right, look, it says the attitude is a matter or situation, a mental position. Okay, that's why there's a gentleman named, he wrote a book called How Rich People Think. And he talks about the mental toughness all the time. Guys, in this world, in life, this is a mental world. I don't know if you know that or not. If you look at everybody, I mean, I'm talking about, and no matter what walks of life they're in, whether it's sports, I don't care what it is, okay? It takes mental toughness to deal with many different situations. And the only reason why people crack under the pressure is because of a bad attitude. Because they didn't know that their thoughts created that, and their thoughts about it, which is negative, will continue to create it. Look what I said here again about this. She says, another shocking truth about prosperity is the thoughts of your mind have made you what you are, and the thoughts of your mind will make you what you will become. So your thoughts about the situation will make you what you are, and it will continue to make you if you continue to have the same attitude. So you understand how people can be angry all the time? And they can be angry for years. They can be angry for 30 years. You're like, my goodness, aren't you get tired of being angry? They don't realize that they're doing it themselves. Their attitude, right? All right, look at this. It says a positive attitude draws good. So the question that was asked in our previous part, we said, can prosperous thinking put shoes on your baby's feet? Yes. Can it put food on the table? Yes. Can it pay your bill? Yes. Can it bring wealth? Yes. Can it heal your body? Yes. Yes to all of it. Yes. 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 Why? Because look what happens. A positive attitude draws the good. A negative attitude brings its train of sin, sickness, poverty, and death. A negative attitude brings all these things. A positive attitude will bring these things. For as a man thinks within himself, so is he. Now, let's look at some different meanings for attitude, feeling. If you ask someone, how do you feel about this, or how you feel about that? And if they are negative, right, then you can understand what their attitude is about it. That makes sense? Right. So if you ask someone, well, how do you feel about it? Well, man, ever happened, then you can tell their attitude about it. Right? Okay. What about a person's mood? You ever heard someone have mood swings? Yeah, you can tell their attitude about things based on their mood. People's opinion about things. You know, there is this big, huge, I mean, there's a lot going on in the world today. And you see so much because of social media. And based on how you approach it with your mind, and when you understand that your thoughts about it can prevent the good that you want to experience, you have to be very careful and monitor how you think about the things that you see on Facebook, social media, consistently on the news. You got to be very careful, because I know what I want to experience in my life. And there are things that I just have to stop watching. Okay? There are just some things I just have to fast from and say, hey, I'm tired of seeing negative news, negative stuff. Because I don't want to have a negative attitude. That makes sense? Okay. All right. Now, a person's philosophy. You remember when I talked about earlier what happened with me when it came to prosperity and wealth, but that came from my philosophy. So I believed years ago that poverty was a virtue. Going through and suffering, you know, God honored that more than someone being rich and wealthy. So that philosophy kept me in that attitude until I began to study different other principles. And I'm like, whoa. So that philosophy, I had the attitude that is okay to not have. You know, it's just not for me to experience wealth because, you know, I decided to become a Christian and get saved and do those things. So for me, wealth is not for me. Okay, and so those philosophy can bring forth a certain attitude. All right. Okay. Now let's continue. The more you realize this, the more you will come to know that people, places, conditions, and events cannot keep your God-given prosperity success from you. Once you decide to be deliberately employed prosperous thinking as your ally for success, once you understand that no condition, no circumstance can keep God's prosperity success from you, once you decide to be deliberately employ prosperous thinking as your ally for success, when you begin to employ prosperous thinking, you will understand that none of these conditions, what anybody says about you, their attitude, can ever stop you from succeeding. And we see that everywhere. You know, just not too long ago, right, earlier today, I was watching one of Tyler Perry's shows when he does in a stadium, one of the musicals that he does. And at the end, he shared how hundreds and thousands of people told him no, 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 no. Well, his attitude brought the success and wealth in his life. What would he have done if everybody said no, and then he just said, well, I guess it's not going to work, and put his head down and give up? Then he would not experience the wealth that was rightfully his. And I want to say to you right now in closing, if you want to experience the wealth, the happiness, the success, the peace, the joy, and the money that is rightfully yours, this is what you must do. You must create the right, positive, prosperous attitude right now. Decide right now that you are no longer going to be the victim, or you're going to blame other people for having a negative attitude. Recognize that the greater one is on inside of you. The greater one is in you, and you have the power and the ability to use prosperous thinking and try it, test it out, and see will I not open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that you will not have room enough to receive. All right. Woo, guys, this was a powerful lesson. I am fired up. So I hope that you enjoyed today's lesson. Take it, recognize that a prosperous attitude is the key to experiencing wealth. Okay? All right. Now, don't forget, if you are enjoying these messages, metaphysical approach to prosperity and wealth, please share your comments at the end of the YouTube video. I've had people share, and thank you for sharing your comments. And I promise you, I will reach out to every single person. Okay? If you have any other ideas that you'd like to share, please share them, because my intention is to build wealth consciousness all over the world. I also like you to go to my blog, www.youtoocanberich.com. All right? youtoocanberich.com, and enjoy those blogs. Share these messages with other people. There are people who has been through what I have been through and is looking for a breakthrough. And I believe that this is our time. If you're watching this, you know it's your time to start experiencing wealth, because it is yours by divine right. All right? This is Richard Duffy, also known as Reverend Rich. My prayer for you that you live rich, happy, success, prosperous, and healthy. Peace and blessings. God bless. All right, my butt is not shutting it off. Okay, it's not shutting it off right now, so I guess I'll continue to talk. And I don't know why it's not shutting off. So if you look like I don't know what I'm doing right now, I do. It's just for some reason the broadcast is not stopping. All right. All right.